On today's Join Us in France, a young couple visits Colmar and surrounding area of Alsace. This is Join Us in France, episode 120. Bonjour, I'm Annie, and Join Us in France is the place where I tell you about my travels and discovery of France, and also where I interview other people who visit France. Today we have Katie and Nathan. They went to Alsace and they went to Provence, the southwest. They had a wonderful time and they are a young, energetic couple. It was fun interviewing them. My interview with Katie and Nathan was so fun. They did so many things and the interview was super long. So I decided to break it up into 3 parts. Today we'll hear about their visit to Colmar and Alsace. Next week we'll hear about their visit to Annecy, Chamonix and the Alps. And the week after that, it'll be the last bit. And they'll take us along with them to Provence, the Gorge du Verdon, and Carcassonne. Thank you so much for coming on the show, everybody. I know I keep saying this like a broken record, but you make it a million times better because this is the genuine stuff that real visitors experience. I've had a little bit of a light bulb went off in my head. I realized that the podcast is a really good way for people to get a preview of what it's going to be like for them to come to France. You know, it's like going to a movie preview. If you hate the preview, you're not going to like the movie and you probably don't go. And it's the same with a podcast. I mean, it's a lot more than a preview because you get a lot of actionable information as well. But it gives you a feel. I mean, I'm sure once you've listened to the episodes, you still haven't booked a hotel. You still don't really know what, where you're going to stay or that sort of thing. But you know you want to go. And that's a really, really valuable thing because really travel guides don't tell you that. They don't help you there. You know, they don't help you choose between all the millions of cities, well, maybe not millions, okay, I exaggerate, but the thousands of cities that we have in France. Where should you go? Like, you know, you don't know until you've heard a recommendation from somebody that you trust. So this is why having people on the show is so wonderful, and I hope it continues to go strong. The other thing that has been wonderful is the Join Us in France closed group on Facebook. For some reason that I don't really understand very well, the Join Us in France page on Facebook, well, you know, it has almost 1,000 likes, but it doesn't get a lot of interactions, whereas the closed group gets a ton of participation. And you know me, I love participation, so I tend to spend more of my time there. So if you're on Facebook and you would like to join, look up the Join Us in France closed group. It's not a secret group, so you can search for it, but only people who are admitted into the group, and I'm the one doing the admitting. And I've admitted everybody so far, because why would I not admit people? I mean, if they become a problem, that'd be different. But nobody's been a problem. It's great. Once you're in, you can view the posts and you can even see the names of the members and all that. But until you're in, all you see is that there is a group called that. And I think maybe it's the fact that it's a little bit more protected, that people feel like they can, talk more openly, and people share photos, and I love it. Thank you. Let's hope it keeps going and be as much fun as it has been. I'm working on making some big changes and modifications to the whole Join Us in France community. I'm not ready to make an announcement, but I'm really, really excited. I think you'll love it too. You know, I'll ask you for feedback and some help as soon as I'm ready to announce something. All right. So we're ready to talk to Katie and Nathan. Hello, Katie and Nathan. Welcome to Join Us in France.
Thank you, Annie.
How are you guys?
We're good.
Doing great.
It's wonderful. Wonderful to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I actually don't know very much at all about you, so I'm really curious. Tell me where you live, who you are, what was the occasion for your visit, and all of that good stuff.
Okay. So we are from Durham, North Carolina in the United States.
Yep.
And I am a 5th grade teacher.
Okay. Nice.
Yep. And I'm a mechanical engineer. And we're both born and raised in North Carolina.
Very good.
Yeah.
And you're young.
Yeah. I'm 29. Katie's 26.
All right. So was this your first time out of the U.S. or your first time in France anyway?
So we have been to Europe before. We went to Ireland and Scotland on a previous trip.
Nice.
But this was our first time in France. And
and the European mainland as well.
Sure.
Right.
It was just for leisure and just to have a good time.
Just to have a good time. So it's, I mean, your trip, when you sent me your itinerary, it sounded almost like a honeymoon, like, you know.
Yeah, we actually had quite a few people ask us if it was our honeymoon. People who should have known that it wasn't our honeymoon, but
we're friends.
So what kind of travelers are you? Do you try to go cheap? Do you like to plan it all out, do it all by yourself? You know, how do you like to organize your trips normally?
So with the previous trip, when we went to Ireland and Scotland, we did very much so on the cheap. We stayed all in hostels and didn't even book them all in advance to add a little bit of adventure to the trip. But this time we slowed down and we booked more Airbnbs, which I feel like is a slight step up in quality and maybe not so in cost necessarily. But
depending on where you go and when, etc. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. So we did more Airbnbs and found that to be much more enjoyable.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So how many days did you stay in France?
We were in France for, how many days? Our total trip was about 2 weeks, but that was including the traveling days.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe about 13.
Yeah, 12, 13 days.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, and why did you pick France?
We don't really have a good answer for that. We knew we wanted to go somewhere in Europe because we hadn't been to the mainland, like Nathan had said.
Yeah.
And I think I said maybe France, and he said, okay.
Sure, yeah. So with Katie being a teacher, she gets a big chunk of vacation off in summer for the Northern Hemisphere. So, and we both figured that staying in the Northern Hemisphere would be good so that we're traveling in the summer. So that limited us to half the world.
Right.
And then, so I guess one reason we chose France is the first place we went, Colmar, which, terrible French accent. I'll try to say things as best I can. But anyway.
It wasn't bad. Colmar, it's fine.
Yeah. We have a funny story about that too. But Katie has family from way, way back that came from the Alsace region and Colmar.
Uh-huh.
So we thought that would be a good place to start.
Sure. Yeah. And so did you rent a car? How did you get around?
Yeah, we did rent a car from the airport, and we kept it throughout our trip.
So what was it like landing in Paris, getting a car, driving off?
Okay, we flew to Geneva, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is much nearer to Alsace.
It is, yes.
And I'm a kind of a car enthusiast. I did a lot of the driving on this trip, and I did the vast majority of the driving in Ireland and Scotland on the other side of the road and stuff.
Right. So you're comfortable driving anywhere?
Yeah, and so I loved it again.
good.
I love driving in Ireland, and I love driving in France.
Yeah.
It's all new and fun, and we did listen to your driving podcast.
Cool.
Which was a big help, actually. We printed off a little chart with all the speeds for the different types of roads.
Yeah.
And we kept that handy.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, because it's true. They don't necessarily tell you what the speed limit is. They just assume that you know.
Yeah. You're more likely to see a sign that says the speed limit is no longer what it used to be than what it actually is.
Yeah.
That's right. That's good. So, Katie, did you try driving at all?
I did. Yeah, I drove for like 5 hours one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, luckily Nathan has a manual car at home, so it wasn't completely new.
Yeah, she wasn't learning how to shift as well as drive at the same time. Yeah.
Well, in France, you can ask for an automatic as a rental, but you'll pay a little more and...
Yeah. I'm definitely a fan of manual shift cars.
That's good. That's great. Okay, so you drove yourself around. So you arrived in Switzerland. Did you spend any time in Switzerland at all, in Geneva?
Not that day. No, we ended up later on in the trip going from Colmar to Chamonix. We drove back through Switzerland and did just a couple stops, but we never stayed overnight there.
Not very much. Okay. All right. Was it really tiring to just fly over and get in the car and drive, or were you fine with it?
So it actually was not that bad, but that's because we prepared ourselves ahead of time. Before we left for the trip, we tried to go ahead and start adjusting to France time. So we tried sleeping on the plane. Oh, wait. Did we sleep? I don't remember what we had to do. But we woke up really early the morning that we left so that it was 9 o'clock a.m. in France. And by the time we got in France, we really were not that tired.
No.
Driving wasn't that bad.
No, it worked out really well. So we adjusted our sleep schedules, and we took melatonin, which is like a supplement that helps you go to sleep. We took that on the plane. And when we arrived in Geneva, we both felt pretty good, which was in contrast to when we landed in Dublin when we did our French trip. We thought we were going to die. So it worked out much better than last time.
That's good. So you get off the airport and you drive off to Colmar.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me about Colmar. I have actually never been to Colmar. It's one of those places that's on my list, but I haven't done it yet. So I'm all ears. What was great? What was not so good? What do you recommend people do? Maybe if they're with kids or if they're older or whatever, or people your age?
So we loved it. You have to go.
I know. The photos look so nice.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful. I feel like sometimes when you go to a place and you're taking pictures for your trip, you have to be strategic about where you point your camera so that it looks extra beautiful.
Correct.
But in Colmar, you could point it in any direction and get just as beautiful a picture.
Wow.
It was just so colorful.
Yeah, the city is very well kept, I must say.
Mm-hmm.
There's
a lot of half-timbered houses. It's medieval.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And we actually stayed in a 16th century house, and we stayed with a couple of winemakers.
Wow.
For a family of winemakers.
And
so that was a really neat experience too.
So was this like an Airbnb where you picked to stay, to not have the whole place yourself?
Yeah. So it actually was not through Airbnb. I think we got it from a Rick Steves book.
Oh, okay.
It was called, I don't know how to say this.
It's like Maison
Martin Jund, maybe?
Yeah. That was it's Maison.
Yeah.
Martin.
Yeah.
Jund. Martin Jund.
Jund. Is it like a German name?
It might be.
Jund.
Yeah. So because it's so close to Germany when you're in Alsace.
Yeah. I think it's Jund. That's how I would say it in German. I don't know. I don't speak very good German either, but okay. All right. So this was this maison. Was it like lots of guests, or was it just the two of you? And
I think they had probably 10 rooms.
Yeah,
maybe?
something like that.
Maybe more.
but it was a small hotel.
Yeah. But the building was great though. Half of it was a true working winery. They sold wine out of the front of the building. They have a little cave, if you will. And it's run by the family. So we did a tasting a little later on, and it was, we took the tasting with the guy that made the wine.
Nice.
It was really, really entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
So do they make a white or a red or both?
They make only one red. So I guess Alsace is known for its white wines.
Correct.
And so, yeah, it was mostly white. We really liked the Riesling and the Gewürztraminer.
Yes.
Yeah. Which neither of us had ever had before.
Ah, yes. It's great with turkey. It's the Thanksgiving wine.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, those are really, really nice. Just slightly, just a tiny bit sweet, but not much. I mean, it's not a sweet wine. It's just a tiny bit. Oh, it's perfect. It's a good wine for poultry.
We ended up buying one. We found one back in the States just earlier this week, and we got it, and we were excited, and it was extremely sweet. So.
Yeah. We were
we have to try to find more of a French one.
Yeah. The French ones are not usually very sweet. Yeah. So what did you do in Colmar? So you did this wine tasting.
Yeah.
At the Maison Jund.
Yes. And other than that, we really just kind of explored the city. We wanted our first stop to be very low key. And
in case we were really tired.
Right.
That's true.
So we went to, there's a bridge with a view of their little Venice is what they call it.
Yes.
And we did a boat tour in the canal.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It was okay.
Yeah. We thought it was going to be a little more impressive than it was. We were expecting. So they advertised in the Rick Steves book that the tour guide spoke English, so we were expecting to get a little bit of history, and it really wasn't a whole lot of that. So, but it was like a nice, quiet, low key thing relaxing. To do.
But how long did it take?
15 minutes.
Maybe 20 minutes. Yeah.
That was really short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you got some good photos out of that though, because sometimes when you're on the water, you get nicer shots, depending.
Yeah. Although there was a couple sitting in front of us in the boat, and so all of our photos have the back of their heads in it.
On my photos, there's usually some bald guy that. I'm like, oh, jeez, get out of my pictures. Anyway, that's funny.
We took a couple day trips from Colmar to the nearby towns in Alsace. So we went to Riquevihr, I think is how you say it.
Oh, you're gonna have to spell that one.
Yeah, it's Riquewihr.
Yeah.
HR. Okay. Riquevihr. Oof. Riquevihr. Wow. All right.
And that was also beautiful. I mean, it looked straight out of a fairy tale.
Oh, wow.
It was also very colorful.
And I suspect that one was also just walk around and enjoy the beautiful town.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there are, 20 wine caves to go taste wine and places to get cheese. So it's pretty touristy, I'd say, but beautiful nonetheless.
Yeah. So you were there in June, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I suppose it wasn't super crowded.
I feel like it was before the rush we had heard about.
Right.
But what we liked about this region, like basically everywhere we went, is it was relatively touristy, but it was a lot of French tourists.
Right.
We weren't in Paris.
Right. Right. Yeah, there's probably a lot of visitors who are from France or maybe Germany or nearby. Maybe some English people too, but I wouldn't say this area is most people who come to France for the first time would not choose Colmar as their first city. This is outstanding what you've done, because you've really gone away from the, 100% tourist thing that, I like to talk about those places too, but it's great that you went to something more genuine first to get a first taste for it.
That's really what we prefer.
Right.
We don't like the hustle and bustle of, it's always a bummer when you go somewhere new and you want to meet all the locals and instead you just meet a lot of Americans.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with Americans, mind you.
Well, yeah, but we have them here.
Yeah.
Yes, you have them in ample supply.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
And also because you're a teacher, French kids still have school until the end of June, and this year actually school ended the early July. And so you're away from most families with young kids, which, there's nothing wrong with that either. But, it's nice to not be in a place that's overrun with a bunch of families with screaming kids.
Sure. Exactly.
I must say, I'm looking at the pictures of Riquevihr. It looks absolutely fabulous.
It really was.
And the food.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, the food looks fabulous. What did you get daring food-wise on this trip?
So I'm a vegetarian, which made things interesting in this region.
Yes,
because food is very German influenced.
Yeah.
And this stop was the hardest for me to find food I could eat. Everywhere after this, I had no problem, but Colmar, it was very difficult. All the restaurants had the same food.
Yeah, which we learned a little later. So being so well managed, all these small cities, they don't allow chain restaurants or anything like that.
Correct.
You have to, they're all family-owned restaurants, and they're generally they cook the traditional food of the area, which is great. Except for when you have a vegetarian. Everybody cooked with these little pork pieces. I can't remember what they're called.
Yes, lardon.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that limited Katie a whole lot, but we were able to find some stuff. We ate some tarte flambée.
Yes, of course. Tarte flambée.
Yeah, I really liked mine, and I think Katie enjoyed hers as well. And then. On our day trips, we were able to find little like patisseries with quiche and stuff like that.
But even quiche has lardon in it, usually, not always.
Yeah, we found one that didn't though. It had mushrooms.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
We had a struggle. Oh, here's a funny thing that I haven't heard mentioned in the few podcasts that I've listened to. The price for sit down and takeout is quite different.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least
it's not like that where I live.
Oh no. Okay. So we walked into this place in Riquevihr, right, for lunch, and we spotted some quiche through the glass, and they had two prices, and one was about double the other one, or it was very close to double.
Oh wow.
And the poor lady behind the counter didn't speak any English, and I was trying to kind of mime, like, is this a larger or a smaller size? And we weren't getting anywhere. But luckily her boss walked in and spoke a little better English and said, "Oh no, that's the price for dine in." Yeah, it's I think it has to do with the taxes involved.
Could be.
Or just for their service, maybe.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in Toulouse. I noticed something like that recently, but that was in Spain.
Oh, interesting.
That's bizarre. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know that people need to be aware of that possible difference.
I don't think it would double like a dinner meal, Right. I think it would just be a euro or two, but
right.
I think it was the same euro or two for our little quiches.
Yeah.
Wow.
Regardless. But we sat down because that's what we wanted to do.
It was still reasonable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't break our budget.
Right.
By any means.
He was the first person we'd encountered so far in that area that actually spoke English too.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't mind sitting down and taking that in.
So you guys don't speak very much French, if at all?
No.
Okay.
We tried to learn with Duolingo just as much as we could before the trip.
Yeah.
And we know how to say things like le singe.
Le singe mange orange, you know.
What? Le singe mange? Is that what you said?
Oh no, like le singe mange orange. You know, like the monkey eats an orange.
Ah, le singe mange une orange. Ah,
Yeah.
yes. Well,
That doesn't really help you much.
I'm sure that came in very handy.
Yeah. But I think it went a long way just to be kind of polite and say please and thank you and help, you know.
Yeah.
So we really didn't have much of a problem.
No.
Everyone was super nice.
That's good.
Yeah, and I think it may be because they aren't used to a lot of American tourists. Like, they still appreciated us.
Sure. Well, and it's the beginning of the season too, you know.
True.
That's true.
By the time September rolls around, they're gonna be like, "Oh, not another one."
Sure.
Yeah, we encountered a lot of people who were very happy to practice their English too.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was one of your day trips. Did you spend the whole day in Riquevihr?
We kind of split that day between Riquevihr and Hunawihr, which is Hunawihr.
Okay. Huna.
Wihr.
Yeah. And
Gee, I have no idea how to say that.
neither do we.
Is that a real place? I mean, I believe you, but
it's an even smaller winemaking village.
Yeah.
With beautiful sights in all directions.
Yeah.
What's really cool about the places around here is not only is the town beautiful, but if you get near the edge and you get a shot of, you know, the last building on the edge of the village and the surrounding countryside, it's all beautiful vineyards, you know, with fig trees sprouting up everywhere.
Chateau.
Yeah, chateaus or, you know, medieval ruins poking out of the hills. So it's just beautiful.
Oh, I'm looking at some pictures of Hunawihr. I can confirm they're not making this up, folks. There is a place called that.
Yeah, very small.
Very nice. So that probably took half an hour.
Yeah, about that.
Oh, the drive? Walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
It looks really scenic, though. It looks beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
It was much less touristy than Riquevihr.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's good. So I want to go back to the vegetarian bit. What did you end up ordering that was okay for you? Like,
sure. So I did order one tarte flambe, which had, I don't even remember what was on it. Cheese.
Yeah.
And onions.
Maybe onions and maybe some tomatoes. Or, I don't know. But
it was like a margarita or something.
It was like a
that.
margarita pizza, but
sort of
pizza, but with
yeah.
But they use a base. The flamme couche. They use a base of cream.
Right.
And very often they make it with like slowly roasted, pan roasted onions.
Okay.
And they're roasted in butter, and so it's really delicious. But most of the places I've had this, they add lardon, which is bacon, you know. So.
Yes.
Yeah, we were only able to find one restaurant that served a vegetarian one.
Yeah.
So.
And it was delicious. Do you remember which restaurant it was?
Ooh, I don't remember.
Okay.
Well, if you find it, send it to me, and I'll put it on the website, because that's always good to know.
We will.
Sure, I can find it, so I'll send it to you.
Okay. So, yeah, my daughter's a vegetarian, and so I'm suffering along with you there. I mean, I eat vegetarian often, but not every day. Like if there's no vegetarian option, I'll have something else. But it's really hard. I mean, there are places in France where, especially there, it's sauerkraut and sausages and, you know, dishes like that are full of meat.
Right.
Yeah.
We also went to an Italian restaurant there, called La Romantica.
Yes.
La Romantica. And that was in Colmar.
It was.
Yes.
Okay.
And that had a lot of vegetarian options, and it was delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, good. La Romantica. I'm writing it down so I can put it on the website too. Excellent. Very, very good. Okay, so more around Colmar, or was that it?
The only other thing we did in Colmar was we went to Château Haut-Kœnigsbourg.
Yep. Which is maybe 30, 45 minutes north of Colmar.
Château ho.
Haut.
Yes, Haute, yeah.
Yeah, Königsberg. Which is a...
K-O...
Koeniggsberg, I think is what it is.
Ah.
Wow. Yeah. I'm going to look it up while you talk. So that's a chateau. That's not a town.
Right.
Yeah. It's you drive up a mountain and suddenly you reach this beautiful castle.
Mm-hmm. And you can do a tour. We didn't. We just kind of hiked around the perimeter of it.
Yeah, the top of the mountain.
Really nice. We got some great views of it that no one else was getting.
Yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately we were under a time crunch because we had scheduled our wine tasting for the middle of the afternoon. That's when the family could do it. So we knew we wanted to go to the chateau that day. So we drove up to the chateau and, meandered around for 30 minutes. And then ran back to Colmar for the wine tasting. Mm-hmm. And we passed like a 1/3 scale version of the Statue of Liberty on our way.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just along the side of the road, or?
Just in the middle of a roundabout.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think the story goes that the artist that designed the Statue of Liberty is from that area.
Oh.
Yeah, so we got to see that as well. It was really
very
cool.
Nice. Did you stop? Is there a traffic jam?
We did not stop. There were a lot of cars at that roundabout, but we took some pictures from the car.
Yeah, and there were people on the side of the road taking pictures. There were.
I don't think you sent me one of those pictures. You might have to send it to me.
Okay,
I might have to put it on the website.
Sure.
Okay.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah,
That's great. So would you? So what type of person? What type of age group would you recommend Colmar and that sort of area for the people listening? Do you think it's appropriate for people with kids or older people or whatever?
I think kids would probably get bored.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We didn't get bored. It was beautiful. We loved every second of it. We didn't want to leave, but probably kids would not enjoy it so much. We'd at least not doing the activities that we did.
Sure. Yeah. If I would say probably not to stereotype, but usually like an older crowd would probably like this place a lot better. People that really want to soak up the culture, and spend time with the residents, live the French way, you know?
Yeah.
We did a lot of just going to the local, what's the bakery called? Boulangerie in the morning, you know?
Oh yeah, we loved that.
And grabbing our baguette and our sweets. Eclairs, yeah.
Yeah, for kids, there are probably kid-specific activities.
Sure, yeah.
You know, or swimming pools are always good, or equestrian, like, you know, you can find a horse club equestrian club that will take you around, and, you know, you can add little things like that to break it up when you're with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. So did you visit any museums in that area or any churches or anything like that?
No, I don't think we went to a single museum on our whole trip. Although we heard that there are some really good ones there.
We did. We spoke to some Australian travelers that had just come from the museum. There's a famous museum in Colmar, and they have a very historical altarpiece.
Yeah.
That has multi-parts, and it's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, we spoke with that traveler, and then we also spoke with an American guy in the tourist information office.
Oh, okay.
For maybe a half hour, and he was a scholar, and he was studying the history of Colmar, and so we kind of got like a personal kind of guided tour of the history of Colmar.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Which was kind of nice.
He recommended the Modern Art Museum that you mentioned, and then also one, or maybe it's the same. The guy who designed the Statue of Liberty has a museum.
Yes.
And then the museum with the altarpiece that Nathan was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. But anyway, I will try to find links to those museums, or to, the most interesting museums that you can see in Colmar, and put links to that on the website. What was the Little Venice thing?
That's just, I guess, the view of the old town from the canal.
Okay.
It's just beautiful.
It's a beautiful view. Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's just a little section, and you can find it on the city map.
Yeah.
There.
Did you go into any churches or synagogue or anything like that?
No, not here.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. One more interesting thing we did, actually the night we arrived, after dinner, we were kind of walking around and taking in the sights, and the Euro 2016 tournament was on, and France was playing that night. And they ended up winning, and the town went wild.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Everyone jumped in their car or their motorbike, and they were honking and waving flags and yelling
for hours.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah. People are crazy.
That was really fun. We enjoyed that.
We were glad that we knew what was happening, because if we had just gone to bed, we would have been kind of scared, probably.
Yeah, that's how I knew that France had lost the final. Was the dead silence.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh, we must have lost. Because I was in bed reading. I don't really care about soccer. So I just went to bed and I was reading. And I'm like, the game must be over by now. And crickets. No. I think we lost.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, that's good to know. If there's a lot of commotion, it's probably some sports event that the French just won or something.
Yeah. Yep. Or a strike, I guess. But
could be a strike. You never know. This is France. You never know. This is the end of our conversation about Colmar and Alsace. Sorry about the abrupt cutoff, but I really hadn't planned to do this in 3 episodes. But I think it's important for me to be a little bit more disciplined and confine each episode to one area or one attraction, so that it's easier for all of you to find it when you need it. If you have to listen to a 2-hour episode to find that bit that you were interested in, that's a bit too long. So, au revoir for now, and you'll find the rest of our conversation in your podcasting app in a few days. Which reminds me that I should remind you, you should subscribe to the show with a podcasting app on your phone or on your tablet. It's the easiest way to make sure you get every episode as soon as it's ready. My favorite podcasting app right now is called Castro. Castro, but you can use the Apple podcasting app, which is already in your phone, in your Apple device, or maybe Pocket Cast or any of the others. Just search for the word podcast on the App Store or your Android store. And we're also in TuneIn Radio and most other places that have podcasts. So, au revoir, everybody. And let's pick this up where we left off in a week. Many thanks to listeners who donate to the show or use our Amazon or hotel booking links on joinusinfrance.com or on the show notes that appear on the podcasting app on your phone. Most new listeners find the show through a recommendation from a friend. If you're the kind of fan who drops our name here and there, bless you and thank you for your help. I hope you have a great time in France, and when you come back, consider sharing your experience and thoughts with other listeners. Drop me a line, Annie@joinusinfrance.com, if you'd like to do a trip report with me. Thank you. Au revoir. This episode is licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Non-Derivatives International License.